Welcome to another edition of RecTech Live, where we bring you all kinds of recruiting technology, information, and advice, and today is no different. Today we're talking with Clickify, a unique employer branding platform. I'm joined by their CEO and co-founder, Amit Parmar. Say hello, Amit.
Hey there, everybody.
And as always, you can come back to this page later on and see the replay anytime on demand. Let's see who's in the chats. I see some of my EB peeps are here. Audra Knights is here, of course. Matt, Bill, Tiffany, Caitlin, Brianna. Welcome, everybody. If you are new to the show, welcome. And thanks for joining in today. Appreciate it. Let us know in the chat where you're from. Feel free to throw in your location if you want, or your company, whichever. It's up to you. But say hello and let us know where you're dialing in from today. So as we go along, you can certainly ask questions inside there. I will be the moderator for today's discussion and demo. And I also want to mention, too, that Clickify is now a sponsor of RecTech Media sites and channels. So I want to, first of all, welcome them for doing that. And, in interest of full transparency, I'd like to put that out there for the audience as well. But I'd like to find cool companies to work with, and I think Clickify is definitely one of those. So definitely meets my high bar there as far as that goes. So I made you're in, and welcome to the club.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, here we are. People are joining as we speak. So let's get started today by asking them a couple of questions about the product. And I guess let's start, Amit, with how do you describe the tool in a few words? We've kind of talked about this a couple of times now, you and I in private, but that's kind of a combination of Canva, Hootsuite, and some other stuff. So give me some more definition around that.
Yeah, in the most simplistic way, and thank you, by the way, for having me here, and thanks to the audience as well. In the most simplistic way, it's all about content and how you analyze that content and make it super easy to create amazing followers through recruiters, hiring managers, and employees with future candidates, right? Building candidate pipelines on social media, and soon we're launching email campaign capability as well.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Breaking news here in RecTech Live.
Yes.
Well, why do companies need the platform? Give me some of the reasons around the benefit, the ROI that you guys deliver.
Yeah. Look, we all know, right? The candidate behavior shifted. Everybody is really looking for what it's like to work for the company beyond what you see on some of the employer review sites. And in the most simplistic way, it's how do you make scaling content and the narrative you want to drive as a corporation or as an enterprise in a very easy way where people can actually take your content and scale, not just static, but also video content, which we'll show you today. And ultimately, the ROI is how do you do more with less, right? We're all strapped for budgets. In terms of marketing support, many organizations simply have either 0 or 1 person aligned to thousands of associates. And ultimately making the best use of the insights that the data creates for you. Right now, a lot of what happens is post and pray. And what we're driving for organizations is more insight-driven content based on how the audience is actually, how the content is resonating with the audience out there.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's quality as well, right? So.
You mentioned review sites there. Another reason to use this tool, which I just kind of thought of, was I wrote an article yesterday on a study around social media recruiting and how job seekers are using the social channels more now to research employers. They're looking on TikTok, they're looking on Twitter and Facebook, for news about the company they're looking to apply for. So there's another reason, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we'll share some data here during this meeting here. We're seeing more and more people wanting to hear from other people, right? And it's, of course, we all know.
The word of mouth, yeah.
Advocacy is huge, but it has to be more personable. It can't be somebody just sharing branded content. That's not enough anymore, right?
Yep.
And that's what we'll talk about here.
And tell me a little more about the beginning of Clickify. What was the seed of the idea, and a little more about your background as well.
Yeah. So look, I'm a talent practitioner, a diehard talent practitioner. Grew up in the talent space for the last 17 years. Started my career with IBM. then Deloitte, and then most recently I was the global VP of talent for Unisys Corporation, which is a $4 billion IT company. We would hire roughly 8,000 people a year, had an amazing team around the world, and time again, when we analyzed the data, it was the people who interacted with our content in one way or another, right? Whether it was a career site or a social media feed, or even Glassdoor or Comparably, it was really about content. And the challenge we had internally was we were strapped for resources in terms of marketing support. And that was the genesis of Cliquify. So we had to come up with a very simple solution for non-marketeers that would get adoption really high with recruiters. In particular, I'm a recruiter myself. And how do you make it super simple to use? And that, frankly, is one of our secret sauces in terms of how we're expanding so quickly here in the market.
So it started at Unisys, or you came out of that experience?
It came out of that. It was basically an idea that was generated there, and then I left and we productized it.
Very nice. Well, it's good to see an actual recruiter with a recruiting product on the back end there. So, all right, well, let's share your slides there, and you got some interesting stats to share, and then we'll get into the demo.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to share my screen. If you could just confirm you see it, that'd be great.
And we're in. Yep.
Awesome. Go on slideshow mode here. So, we analyzed, we're very data driven in this company. We analyzed a ton of data on how much spend corporations collectively have, and this is just a US number at the moment. It's really difficult to get this number around the world. But right now, we're looking at $2.9 billion collectively spent by corporations on annual ads, digital job ads, right? On an annualized basis. $2.9 billion. I'm going to pause there and see, get a feel from the audience here. What percent of candidates we believe out there actually respond to digital job ads today? Just take a wild guess. And Chris, if I may, because I don't see the chat here, if you could just let me know some numbers that are being shown, that'd be great.
I'll say 5%.
Okay.
Anybody in the audience want to chime in? Brianna says 1%.
1, okay. Any other numbers? It's 7%.
Oh.
And that's the data as of last year. 7% of candidates are actually responding to job ads. So on one hand, you have $3 billion that are being spent on digital job ads. Now, of course, they have a place. I'm not saying that they don't. But when you look at it collectively, the candidate behavior is shifting drastically, right in front of our eyes here. So why is that? And we have data around that, right? So we're finding about 3/4 of candidates are actually researching your company's reputation, be it on Indeed, Glassdoor, Comparably, LinkedIn, and to your point, Chris, 85% of candidates are actually learning more about your company by just connecting with your people and looking at what they're sharing on social, including LinkedIn. The other phenomenon is when we looked at the content itself, we're seeing candidates are trusting content more from your employees and your hiring managers and recruiters than any kind of paid ad that's out there. And that's by up to 3x. We're seeing data out of Clickify that shows 15x more engagement when your recruiters, hiring managers in particular, are sharing content that is generated by them through Clickify. But of course, as we know, right, scaling content is super, super challenging. It gets very cumbersome across organizations. The larger you get, the more cumbersome it gets. You're strapped for resources. And so that's where the narrative control becomes super hard to balance in terms of what you want your people to have access to do and what you don't. And that's where Clickify comes in. So if I may, I'm going to jump right into the actual product and demo here.
Let's do it.
I'll just go straight here. So we're completely web-based. You don't need to integrate with your HR tech stack. and we'll show you, how you get to do that while also maintaining the tracking of every source of hire through Clickify. But essentially, what you have here is you've got two user sets. You've got the employer branding people, or the creators, the more creative mind. They get to have admin access to the platform, where they're in charge of their brand kit, which is comprised of the logos, the brand colors, brand images. In about 3 weeks, we're launching video upload capability here as well. So this is a huge area for us to centralize all of your digital assets, including videos, in one place. And we also enable custom font files that are supported through the platform. Once this brand kit is built, then you're essentially still in create mode here. And we've done a ton of research on what's driving candidate behavior. So we have these categories up here that you see. So what's your mission statement? What do you really stand for? What is your culture like? Your core beliefs, your value system, content around your diversity goals and targets and equity and belonging. How are you going to really think about protecting the environment? And these are things that candidates care about these days, right? Carbon neutrality is a big thing. Volunteering efforts. We all do. There's a ton of great work that happens in this space, but it gets lost in career sites today. Your benefits that are truly unique for your organization. This area is definitely starting to grow within our product, which is learning and career growth opportunities. Mm-hmm. So what are growth opportunities available to me? And some organizations are actually starting to use Clickify to market their external learning offerings, where you've got prospects who can actually take that and then recapture essentially who's taking that course, as an example. And that becomes your hot lead for candidates. Your jobs, of course, right? So you've got these job templates. Celebrate. This is another area that's really starting to become big. Like, how do you celebrate employee achievements, new hires, promotions, just thank you notes in particular that are branded in nature, that are socially shared? It's a huge category for us. External referrals, right? Crowdsourcing your talent across social media channels. That's certainly a key area. And then events, right? Come meet our amazing team at a local happy hour, or maybe it's a virtual happy hour. So we've got these categories that really start to drive very ease of use in terms of your user base. For your recruiters, your hiring managers, they can easily come, plug and play this content and share it through their social feeds. What I'm going to show you right now is how to build this content right within our platform. So right here, let's say I want to create something around our diversity, something really cool about what we're doing with diversity. So I'll select that template. And by the way, we can pre-build these templates for you as an offering as well. So Clickify offers that as a service.
Okay.
And so here, let's say I want to, there are very key metrics that are publicly available for my enterprise, but they're buried out there on career sites. And this instance actually is from a particular client of ours. Of course, we will not name that client. But essentially, it's very powerful when you make the content social ready. And you can easily build it right within our platform here. So it is very much like Adobe or Canva from that perspective. But we don't just stop there. It's about build, publishing, as well as capturing the analytics all in one place. So here you can use your own content that you uploaded in your brand library, or we have a library of 2.7 million images and graphics you can choose from. We're just about to add GIFs to this as well, because that's certainly a big ask from our clients. So we're adding that capability here as well.
Cool.
And as you're building this, you can lock certain elements as well. So you can, if you don't want your users changing where the Clickify logo is placed, as an example, I can lock it. So when they access it, the users aren't able to move that piece of content within the template. And then once I build out these templates, and it takes roughly 3 to 7 business days for us to, basically build the content, or the company's, or the client's marketing department to build the content. We start out with roughly 3 to 4 templates per category. And essentially what happens then is, for each of these categories, you build out your content right within Clickify, and you can make it available now to your users or take it off the user's visibility internally as well.
How many of your clients have you make them for them, or and how many percentage make their own at this point?
About 95% of our clients make their own, and then we do have some smaller clients who have like zero marketing support. That's who we help build the content for.
Gotcha.
Great question.
I imagine they have to. I imagine they have to do their own because they have, it has to go through legal, all that kind of stuff, right? As far as the images go and things like that.
Absolutely. And of course, even if we were to help them, we can still do the legal reviews. We just don't make it visible while we're building it to the audience. It's only visible to a handful of people who are like branding people within the enterprise. Right? Once I build out these templates, now I'm ready to share. Now I'm ready to basically invite my recruiters, users, employees, even the hiring managers, under account settings, under manage users. If you have admin access, you simply need the email. We can do a bulk upload here as well. All we need is a spreadsheet with your email addresses for your users, and we can do a bulk, and of course what access you want to give them. We can do this in the back end depending on the size of your invitee list. As soon as I invite the user to join the platform, they get an email, and there's like a walk me feature where the only thing really that they need to do is connect their social handles when they set up their profile with Clickify. And the social handles that we're integrating with today are Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and with video capability that's launching in about 3 weeks for us, we'll be able to add Instagram and TikTok as well as channels. Okay. Now you notice here I've got 2 LinkedIns. I can either connect to my corporate LinkedIn account if I have the credentials to do that, or my personal LinkedIn account.
Okay.
And similarly with Facebook, it's the Facebook page. And if we do have recruiters who actually create their own Facebook pages, just as like solo recruiter type of pages for their enterprise.
Yep.
Once the user connects their social handles, then what they see is what we shared today. And it's everything that the admin has given visibility to. So as a recruiter, I come in and say, you know what? Today, I'm not just going to push jobs, because this is a big trend we're seeing, is people want to see other content. They just don't want to see, just hear jobs. Like what happens today is you just share a job out of the ATS. It doesn't really differentiate you. And there's a ton of that happens on social sphere today. So our goal is to kind of really elevate the messaging with multiple sets of content, not just job-related content or job description-related content. So you've got here, let's say today I want to share something about social responsibility. And let's say I'm very, very passionate about the climate. So I'll use this template around what the company is committed to in terms of carbon neutrality. I'll hit next. And on the right-hand side is my post preview. And here in the middle, one of the really cool things we do is we're able to go through your website, your career site, as well as your job description, and really get after some captions that are generated based on our AI ML machine. And these captions can also be fed by the organization. So we're feeding whatever it is that the organization wants to feed right within our caption generator. And that's really a unique value proposition for us. This is a huge bottleneck for a lot of users, generally speaking, is even if they're given the content, as many of you know out there, it's very difficult to actually write something that's meaningful and attractive. And because it's ML, it's actually learning the user's behavior. So over time, it's going to start to really talk in the tone that the user and the organization is talking.
Yeah, recruiters want more to be writers and HR people, so anything you can do to help them is a good thing.
Yeah. And we do track this from an analytics perspective. So over time, we can actually tell the organization that these are the types of posts, captions, as well as the piece of content. This is how it's resonating out there with the audience. right, in terms of engagement, click-through rates, impressions, and I'll show you that in the analytics page momentarily. And then we have drive traffic to URL. So it could be anything. It could be a career site. It could be your particular job that's posted. It could be a YouTube video from your CEO. It could be a blog post. As long as it has a URL, it's fair game for Clickify in terms of a call to action for the audience.
Can you set a default for that?
We can. It's actually a question that came earlier in a client demo this morning. You can actually just hard code it as you want to drive everything to your career site.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Great question. And then we have the hashtag capability here. We are working on AI hashtagging as a feature as well. That's coming in the near future. We just wanted to get the video capability up and running first.
Yeah, like automatic hashtags?
Yep, or hashtag recommendation.
Oh,
just
recommendations,
like we have
okay.
caption recommendation. And so I'm just going to say hashtag employer branding, or actually in this instance, it would be hashtag climate. Right. And then on the right-hand side, I can either publish my content immediately or at a later stage. So we have a lot of users. The recruiters who are busy, like, you know, I've been a recruiter, I only have maybe 10 minutes to spend on social, right, a week. I'll actually create 3 posts for the whole week, right in a 15-minute setting on Monday. And I'll say on Monday I want to publish something about the environment. On Wednesday I want to publish something about our diversity initiative. And then on Thursday I'll publish something about a job I might have open. Right? Everything, you know, it's in a curated fashion throughout the entire week for that recruiter, or for the hiring manager for that matter. And then you have, you know, your publishing capability. You can publish it as far out as 5 years as you like, right? So there's no limit to that. And then we're a one-click publishing channel to all of your social handles that you have connected Clickify with. And essentially it gets published. And, you know, one of the questions we receive is, you know, when we get Instagram and TikTok, is the formatting going to change? And that's the only thing that's holding us up right now, is we want to dynamically change that format so that it's capable of supporting Instagram and TikTok when we go live with video.
Yeah, how are you going to do that? Because TikTok is just video, right? So how do you take an image-based post with text and a link and turn that into a video?
Yep, and I'll show you that as soon as we get past this. So we'll show you how to use these templates to actually insert video in them.
All right.
Cool. And then once it's live and posted, this one happens to be a job-related post. So this is an example of an existing client. You know, created this post literally under all they did in this instance was change the title of the job and the location. Everything else was already pre-populated for them. And then the Learn More button takes the candidate, in this instance, straight to the job. And there it is. So we're bypassing the career site completely. Right? And we're basically saying all of your content should now be where people are hanging out, which is social media channels. Everything that's in your career site, really, I mean, yes, it's important to have the content in career sites, but now we're taking all of that and bringing it where these people are hanging out, which is LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and all the social media.
Back to the LinkedIn post for a second. I just want to point out too that it's, you know, there's more context here than just a "we're hiring" post, right? So you get that image there to kind of draw the user in, and there's context around the job itself there. So that's eminently better than just saying, "Hey, we're hiring. Here's a link." So that's the point of this, right?
Yeah, and in about 3 weeks, you're going to be able to click on it, and there'll be like a video job description, right? As an example, right? And so that's basically where we're headed.
Yeah.
Right here's some more from Mary, right, as an example. But yeah, to your point, Chris, our goal is to differentiate you through content, right? And Mary does an amazing job here of changing it up, right? And this one here, you know, this was AI generated. This post caption.
Yeah, read that for us. What does it say?
says, at Baker Tilly, we don't just keep pace, we set it. Evolving is essential to moving our people and our business ahead. If you're ambitious and looking to join a successful team, we invite you to join us. As opposed to, hey, our team is hiring, DM me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which happens a lot, right? A
Yeah,
lot more than
way too much, yeah. Yeah.
And then same thing in this instance, it's driven, the candidate is driven straight to the job. And one thing I wanted to highlight is every piece of content is hard-coded with equals Clickify. So especially for jobs. So when a candidate applies to this, the source will be LinkedIn, but the subsource is Clickify.
Okay.
So that you can track all of your content all the way through to hire, as well as to, how long they're staying with your company. Yeah. Attributed to Clickify, right?
Do most enterprises track that? I mean, what's the percentage there?
Not many, to be honest.
Okay.
It is available in their internal reports, but I will say it is either they're too busy or simply, believe that their process is strong enough to essentially capture all the source codes.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody on the chat there, do they use like Google Analytics to track their referral traffic, or is it built into your ATS? Definitely curious as to what you guys are doing for that kind of stuff, if at all, right? So it's not something typically that a recruiter or HR person is trained to do, right? So it's more of a internet marketing skill set, if you will. But it's really great data if you know where to find that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can share my previous experience. We used to have a source code report real time.
Did you?
The Workday.
What did you use at Unisys? What ATS?
Workday.
Okay.
And we would get, at any point in time, real time, I would be able to say, okay, it's 4,000 hires that I made, through the year, exactly what source code it came from, and in an automated fashion, right? So there was no manual intervention involved. And before, of course, we would say, okay, social media is a category, and then you would have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. But now we're going as far as, okay, subsource, because content is created in so many different places now, right? And of course, the social media are the channels, but really, where is the content being created is essentially where we're getting at, and how is that content performing?
Yeah.
So there's a big data play here, and really getting very, frankly, data driven about the type of content we're putting out there as an organization. So that's how we're able to track the analytics. So we can basically go into the platform, and by the way, this data within the enterprise is visible to everybody because it's sort of like a leaderboard.
Yep.
Across all of your users. So you can see who your biggest social advocates are, real time, and you can, basically the time horizon as well as which channel is performing, better over the other. So you can drill down into the various channels, and not just user activity, but here's the content stats as well. So who posted it, what they posted, and how is it performing?
Okay, and you track impressions, clicks, engagement, CTR, and reposts. What does engagement mean, Amit?
Yep, so we have definitions clearly spelled out here. So here it says the total number of likes, comments, shares, and if you're on Twitter, tweets and clicks included.
Okay.
Clicks are the unique clicks. So these are the URLs that you embed when you're driving traffic to your ATS. That's what we mean by clicks. It's the link clicks.
So that's 730 clicks on your dashboard there are essentially 730 clicks to your ATS or whatever landing page.
Right. If my URL drove all the traffic to your job or the career site, that's where it would be. So these are the executive level analytics, the top level analytics. Mm-hmm. We also get to the campaign level for the user. So they can say, okay, what is everything that they have published over time with Clickify, and how is each of those, where did I publish it, and then how is that performing across social?
Nice.
All right, all in one place. So, to summarize, we're building the content right within Clickify. We're scaling it through social, and emails are coming pretty soon. And then lastly, we're analyzing it all in one place. My biggest, bane of existence was I had like 4 different tools doing this.
Right.
And so that's the other added benefit is now you have one single place. I had another tool managing all my digital assets. I had a separate tool to do video. And then I had a separate tool to do CRM, right? It was just too much for my recruiters, right?
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, I wanted them actually talking to people, right? So instead of playing with tools. So here, that's really the current version of it. In about 3 weeks, we're launching videos. So I wanted to show the audience what that looks like, give them kind of a sneak peek at it.
All right.
I'm in the dev environment, so it may be a little slower than my prod or my production environment. So the video feature is going to be there. That's going to get added on, and as an admin, so as a branding person, I get to request videos of crowdsourced videos from anybody in the company. So I can say, like Clickify. And then we still have these categories as our anchor. So all our analytics and everything is based on these EVP categories, right, across the clients. And so here, I'll say, okay, culture and values. As soon as I select that, there are key questions that auto-populate. These are curated by Clickify. And let's say I want this in portrait fashion. I don't, I want to cap the clip length to under 60 seconds. I'll save that, and then I can either upload, you can upload like a file of emails, or you can invite, employees, hiring managers one-on-one as well. So as soon as I enter that there, here's your customized email message that you can easily copy paste. And this is what the employee is going to receive in terms of what we need from them from the video. I'll send the invite. That employee just received an invite with this email text, and there's a link to that within that email, and that link takes the user to this page. They don't need to be on Clickify. It's an open link, essentially. They can be on their phone, they can be on a browser, and this is the request. We want to know, what your favorite attributes about your culture are. What do you like most about working here? Describe your organization's core beliefs, right? Values. Which one is your favorite and why, right? Like real questions to get real feedback from your people. And then I'm gonna just get off of video here because it looks like my video might be on. So
okay, yep.
It's not gonna let me connect to my video. Let me just see here. I'll just stop my video so I can actually share with the audience what the actual clip looks like. Okay. All right. Can you still see my screen or no?
Actually, I can't see you anymore.
Okay, did you lose me? I'm sorry, guys.
Yep. Looks like you turned your video off on the menu there.
Here, I'll turn it back on.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. This is not good.
That's okay.
We'll figure it out. Let's see here.
Do you see the video icon? It's red. So.
Well, I lost myself completely. So.
Yeah. We've lost Amit.
We'll get there, guys. Just bear with us. Here.
Let me see if I can toggle it on as the host.
My video it says it's lagging.
There it goes. Okay, you're back.
Perfect. All right.
All right. Let's skip this.
All right. Let's skip the. Yeah, I'm gonna just share, and we'll skip the actual video taking.
Yeah.
But basically, what happens is the user records the video here, and they submit it to you as the admin who requested the video. So I'll just go back into Dev here. And you can see my screen now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll just go back in to my dashboard. And that video, here is the life at Clickify. That's the project I started as an admin. There is no video here because I couldn't record it here. But if there was, basically it would look something like this, right? And then right off of that video, you can create templates right within Clickify. So you can say, okay, I just got Mitt's video here. I want to create a LinkedIn post as a template for my people to grab and just go. And here's the template that we can of course pre-build these for you, but basically you could just plug that right in there. So to your question earlier, Chris, you can have a job description, and you can say, what it's like to work, right? And I can certainly use my logos and such, and then this becomes your social post that once you hit save, it becomes visible to your audience under share. Under culture and values, it would just show up here as a tile, a video tile that people
Gotcha.
can just grab and start sharing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really nice feature for you guys. The world is a visual world, and we're all just swimming in it.
Yeah, and by the way, audio is coming shortly after that. So from a diversity perspective, videos can actually result in some bias, right?
Well, I'm glad you said audio. I like that fact because I do think there is a place for audio as well. 10 years ago, I started Jobs at Posimit. I don't know if you remember that one, where it was just employers talking about their jobs. It was always just audio at that point. People always ask, "What about video?" Well, that's not the point, right? Audio, you can listen to it in more places while you're walking or in your car, things like that. So I do believe there's a place for audio in employer branding as well. So thanks.
Oh, absolutely, especially from a diversity and inclusion perspective. That's really our goal for audio is how do you remove and stuff from jobs.
Well, let's start to wrap this up. Audience, if you have any questions for Amit, throw them in the chat there. I've got a couple of questions as we close out the show here. So finish this sentence for me, Amit. Clickify's ideal client uses Clickify X times per day, X days per week.
Yeah. In totality or at the recruiter level, Chris?
X times. How many times per day? How many times per week should they be using it?
Yeah. So
totality.
They should be using it at least 3 times a week. Many recruiters are using it maybe 15 minutes a week, but the impact is 3 posts, right? right. So to the audience, it appears as though the recruiter is super active, but for the recruiter, it's 15 minutes of their time a week.
Yeah. Okay. And explain the pricing model if you could for us.
Yeah, so it's unlimited. We don't charge by the seat. As a buyer of these kinds of technologies for years, I frankly hated being charged by the seat. It limits you a lot. So our pricing model is really based on your hiring volume. We do have an upper limit, so it's once a year annual agreement, and it's one set price for the full year for unlimited users, unlimited content, unlimited analytics.
Very cool. All right, well, tell the audience where to go to learn more. And probably should spell it too for the podcast audience as well.
Yeah, there's some comments and questions here, but of course,
Yeah.
Clickify.me. You can always reach me. HR for Life is my Twitter handle. And of course, I'm super active on LinkedIn, just given my role.
Yeah, so the question from Beata says, can you address social comments through the Clickify suite, or is it all done through the individual social platforms once you post the actual item?
Yeah, once it's posted, the only thing we can do is analyze that content. We're not interacting with it because it's at the user level. So it's a slippery slope for us to start to act like users, right? So, but you can't. Yeah, once it's posted out there, you almost have to be that user to interact with that comment.
Yeah, that's the way the other social platforms work too, right? So yeah, deliver it and Hootsuite and stuff.
And the strategy is we want your people to be your face. not only from an advocacy perspective, but just be real about what it's like to work with Chris, right, or Amit, right?
Yeah, you still have to manage those channels anyway. So you're going to manage the comments, I assume, just on an individual level like that.
Yeah, and the goal overall is not just to push jobs, as I mentioned earlier, which happens a lot today. My best candidates came from when I built a relationship with them through content on social, like on LinkedIn mainly, really, over a course of 3 months, right? But then you build it so much that now you have amazing communities following you, right? So if you're aligned as a recruiter to cybersecurity professional, as an example, and you're putting out content related to things that actually matter to them, not just through Clickify. You could do it through Clickify, like just put an ad, put the link for a cybersecurity, article through Clickify, as an example. You can start to now analyze and start to build communities through content, and that's, if you take a step back, it's really content-based, pipelining is what we offer.
Yeah. I'm curious too, do you see the overall just full usage stats among your entire client base in terms of the platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? Like what's working for them as far as engagement goes, for example?
Yes, great question, Chris. So it varies by the jobs, right? So we have clients on our platform who are hiring truck drivers pretty successfully using Facebook. They can't wait to get Insta, right? Because that's going to be another great channel for truck drivers. At the same token, we've got clients who are hiring tax and finance professionals on LinkedIn. So it really differs in terms of what kind of talent gets attracted to this content on the channels. But really, general rule of thumb is if it's a more exempt type of a role, it's either LinkedIn or Twitter. If it's non-exempt, Facebook, Insta, and TikTok will be kind of your go-to places. That's why we can't wait to get on Insta and TikTok as well. Yeah. In terms of themes we're starting to see emerging across all of those categories, we're actually seeing lower engagement when jobs are shared versus benefits. Flex work is huge right now, as well as diversity-related topics like belonging, equity, and will I feel welcome in this organization or not?
Yeah.
Again, we don't have millions of data points yet, but we have enough to start to deduct some of those analytics.
Yeah, you're going to have some really interesting data sets in a few years, and cumulative and over time. I think it's going to be really interesting as a business to also just inform the masses out there as to what works and what doesn't. So look forward to that.
Absolutely. Actually, one of our clients, they found over a 6-month period with us, they found that anytime they wrap their messaging around their mission, their engagement is about 27x. Right? They had no idea about this before Clickify, right? So now, they're basically taking all of their content on their career site and so on, and using this as one of the data points to say, hey, we need to really be mission-driven in terms of how we approach candidates.
Awesome. Good stuff, Amit. Well, we look forward to the video stuff, and I'll certainly tell the audience when it's out. And I just want to thank you for joining me today. Thanks for becoming a sponsor on RegTech Media, and we'll chat again soon with Amit from Clickify, as I get a phone call, of course.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time on RegTech Live. By the way, September 28th is our next show. We're going to have Prelude on the call. They're an interview platform, maybe a couple other vendors as well. So September 28th is our next demo day. So for RegTech Media, I'm Chris Russell. We're out.